be doing everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta toss them out. I'm really biting, they just barking out. I'm really riding, they just parking now. Hit street, what to talk about. See the big H when I'm walking out. Yeah.
Hey, welcome back to the Athletes Forum Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in, subscribing, drop a comment, like, share with a friend, keep the vibes going. We are fresh off a second week of the college football playoffs, breaking down what the playoffs would look like and the matchups we would get if they were to start tomorrow. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, some quick notes that I made, and you guys let me know what you think. You know how this rolls. This is an interactive program. So drop a comment, like, share with a friend. We'll respond. We'll keep this thing going. All right. So CFP dropped their rankings. CFP also gave us the matchups we would get if playoffs were to start today. Let's dive into that a little bit. Shout out to On3 for the graphic. So couple things to look at. Oregon State's put at 1. They're the best team. And the more I look at it, it's hard to find a team that, you could say Ohio State, but it's hard to find a team that will legit maybe go head-to-head with Oregon as of right now. All right, Texas moves up to number 2. BYU is locked in at 3. Miami bumps back because, again, if they would win the ACC championship, they would get one of those top spots. They get the 4 seed, even though they're not ranked that high. And then we see how everything else pans out. The 12-team playoff, it's great. It's intense. It's exciting. I can't wait to see what the final product looks like because a lot of these matchups aren't going to be the matchups we get. Maybe some of them are, but there's still a lot of drama to come. We got the conference championship games. We got a big slate this weekend and how this is going to change the matchups next Tuesday. Teams that are like 13, 14, 15 that could possibly creep in, right? SMU, Texas A&M. Who else is there? Georgia. They're going to have some opportunities. So how do those teams pan out? How strong is the Big Ten SEC? How many schools do they get in? Do they get 4 each? We shall see. But, let's dive into it a little bit. So one of the things that stuck out to me and that I wanted to point it out is Big Ten clearly has an advantage. Right, they got some of the top seeded teams. They got some of the top rated teams in Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, Penn State. And the reason why they got an advantage because, again, if you're one of those teams that get the first round bye, you get a home field advantage. Big Ten play up north. Most of the matchups they're going to get, as it looks here, are going to be SEC matchups, right? We look at Alabama going to an Indiana. We look at Ole Miss going to a Penn State, right? Notre Dame is going the opposite direction. They'd be going to Tennessee, and then Boise State plays in the cold. All right. So Big Ten, you really got the advantage, right? Not just like the home field advantage, but the weather. Like, who wants to go to Indiana on December 20th when there's going to be snow on the ground and freezing when you're used to playing in 70 and 80-degree weather, right? Bama's not going to do that, want to do that. So it's clear to me Big Ten could be the strongest conference. Big Ten clearly has the advantage, not just from a team and institution standpoint, but from the locked-in home field advantage. You got the whiteout, you got the weather playing into their mix. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see these matchups, right? You guys let me know what you think. Is the SEC built to go to the Big Ten country, right? We'll see. Another thing, SEC is going to cannibalize each other. All right, strong conference. And it just shows how deep the conference is. Clearly, obviously, just coming up how saying the strong the Big Ten is, and it is. But just look at all the potential 2-loss teams in the conference. You look at Ole Miss, you look at Georgia, you look at Alabama, you look at Missouri, even though I don't think they really have a shot. You look at possibly there's gonna be another one. Texas A&M plays Texas, Tennessee plays Georgia. There's going to be another 2-loss team in there. So who's the best 2-loss team? Which 2 or 3 2-loss teams are going to edge their spot to the playoffs, right? We shall see. Obviously, looking at this, you got a team like Ole Miss. You got a team like Alabama that are creeping in. But there's going to be other schools possibly. And how many from the SEC do we get? Do we get 5 like what some people are saying, right? If the goal is to get the best 12 teams in, obviously the top 5 are locked in for conference champions. Are you really going to put that many from one conference? And the Big Ten could have an argument too. So SEC is going to cancel each other out because you think about it. You got a team like Bama who who beat Georgia, who beat LSU, lost to Vanderbilt. You get a team like Georgia who loses to Alabama, loses to Ole Miss, but they beat Texas, right? You get Tennessee, lost to Arkansas, right? Ole Miss lost to Kentucky, right? And I think there's another loss in there too. I lost to LSU, right? So they all is again matchups make fights, and that's a true statement in the SEC. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Another thing I want to point out: Ohio State might have the best seed in that 5 seed in this playoffs, right? You look at a possible opportunity looking at these playoffs where they're going to they're going to have a Boise State, and they're going to have and they're going to have a Miami. Two matchups where not only are they the best team, but they win the matchup up front. They win. This literally plays into Ohio State's hands, and then you will go into possibly an Oregon. Maybe we'll play this out, and I'll give you my win losses and who I think might win. Just looking at this, and you guys let me know what you think. But the 5 seed might be the best seed in the playoffs. You guys let me know. You guys let me know what you think there. All right. Another thing, a 1-loss BYU team. Granted, they're undefeated now, but let's say they go to the conference championship and lose to whoever that team is. I'm not even going to name drop. Let's just say whoever that team is. A 1-loss BYU team is getting into the playoffs. A 2-loss Miami team is not. And that's clear. A 1-loss BYU team, even if they lose one game and they end up winning the Big 12 championship, they're getting in, obviously, because of the championship. But let's just say that loss came in the championship. They're going to get in regardless. There's no way they are dropping out of the top 12. Miami could possibly drop. I'm convinced that if the committee thinks, if the committee thought SMU would beat Miami, 9-1 Miami, let's just say they were undefeated, beat Miami in the ACC championship, or even at 9-1, Miami would be out. All right. So again, it's who you lose, how you lose, and how the team is playing. They don't have a lot of quality wins. I mean, Florida looks good as long as Florida keeps going, but they don't have a lot of quality wins in the Canes. So they're gonna need to win out in order to get into the championship, because I don't think they can afford another loss, right? So that's how the playoffs playing out. All right. Again, locker room. That's you guys. Drop a comment. Let's talk this out. Let me know what you think. Right. Let's play this out. Actually, right. All right. Let's look at the playoffs. Let's play it out. I think Notre Dame's been playing tough. Their defense was playing well. It seems like the offense been clicking. They've been scoring a lot of points. I think Notre Dame will go to Knoxville and win. I think that's similar to like a week 1 when they went to Texas A&M and win, beat them. I think Notre Dame would beat Tennessee. I think Ohio State would beat Boise. Yep. I think Indiana is actually I think Bama and Indiana match up well. I think Indiana would beat Bama, if I'm being honest. So I like Indiana in that. And honestly, I like Ole Miss over Penn State. I like Ole Miss over Penn State. I like what Ole Miss showed this past weekend versus Georgia in their defense. I think their quarterback, Jackson Dart, is the better quarterback on the field. So I would pick Ole Miss to beat Penn State, right? And then if that were to happen, you would have Ole Miss go to Oregon or play Oregon. You would have Notre Dame play Texas. Remember, this is all seeding, right? Or am I looking at this correctly? Let me know what you think. Because if it's going by seeding, obviously, if Ole Miss upstates Penn State, I thought they would go to Oregon. Whatever. You guys let me know what you think. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but if we're just looking at the first rounds, I'm going to take Ohio State, Notre Dame, Indiana, and Ole Miss, and then we'll see how it plays out there. But you guys let me know. You guys let me know what you think there in terms of who you got in those matchups. All right. Lastly, just want to point out this is a pivotal week for a lot of teams. All right. Tennessee, Georgia, obviously it speaks for itself. Tennessee can afford a loss. Georgia can't. Georgia loses, they're done. If Georgia loses to Tennessee, they're done. Nico Maleava is hurt, concussion. I don't know if he's going to play. So we'll see how that works out in Georgia's favor. Right now, they're favored by 9, but that's a big game for Georgia in terms of playoff hopes on the line. Obviously, we know about Colorado, Utah. That's going to be a big game. A sneaky game is Kansas versus BYU. Kansas did just beat Iowa State. Kansas could ruin some shit. Kansas could ruin some things. We'll see, especially BYU coming off that tough win versus Utah, where maybe they should have lost. I don't know. We'll see. There's obviously other good games, but in terms of playoff, hopes, those are the games that stick out the most. So again, locker room, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the CFP. Let me know what you think about the matchups. All right. Who's in the best driver's seat? Right. What's this going to come down to at the end of the day? All right. Let me know what you guys think. Again, like, subscribe, drop a comment. This is an interactive show. Thank you for tuning in to the Locker Room, Athletes Forum Podcast.